We have a couple of Dymatics DMP printers that we use to print experimental inks, small quantities of inks. We're able to print with 2 or 3 cc's of fluid on a kind of an A4 size XY platen. The print head sits in this carriage over here. We can characterize it using a drop watcher, make sure the jets are firing, understand the jetting, and then print with the carriage. The carriage goes left and right over the platen. There's also a little fiducial camera, so we can print something with one color or one fluid and then come back, re-register and print it again at another time, another day. We have a couple of ovens at different temperatures. We have a hot press, so we do things like process inks, dry them at different temperatures. This is really for subliming inks onto textiles. We work a lot with experimental inks, new formulations, and try to figure out processes to make them work for the application. When we're working on an application for a client, we would typically get inks in for that particular application from as many potential vendors as possible, so that we can assess the various inks that are out there in the print heads of choice and figure out the jetability and the print process and try to find the best ink for the application. Another thing that we have to evaluate jetting is a drop watcher. This is a strobe camera where we put a print head in the field of view of the camera, and we fire it while strobing, and in this case you can see drops in flight and measure things like drop velocity. This is a Konica Minolta 1024i sitting here. So we would adjust the various parameters in terms of jetting, look at different frequencies, look at open time. We would then take that head on the rail, slide it over to a stainless steel conveyor belt, and we can immediately print with it and see what the output is. This is a tool that we fabricated ourselves. Another tool that we have is a Sinteron. This is from a company called Xenon. Essentially what it is a high intensity flash. It's a visible light strobe system, and the intensity of the light is such that it can melt metal particles onto plastic. So we use that to sinter when we're printing with metal nanoparticles like gold, nickel, copper or silver. We're also looking at this as a way of drying. If you pulse it with less intensity multiple times, you can potentially dry off a fluid. So this is sitting on a stainless steel conveyor belt, pulsing away as the product comes underneath. We also have a UV cure system, benchtop conveyor with a fusion with either a D bulb or an H bulb, and we use this to do quick tests of curing. This is our print controller. Down here is the drive electronics and the pneumatic system, and then it's basically connected up to a PC, and there's a monitor and keyboard. We just put it on a rack here. These can be configured to drive pretty much any head: Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Xaar, Dymatics, Ricoh, and Seiko. So we use this to drive the head of choice, and then again evaluate the properties of the head. So we've gone from a DMP to a single industrial head. We then make prototype head clusters for a client. This is one that is 8 SG1024s. It's difficult to see. I'll try to zoom in here, maybe go underneath. There are 8 modules going across, so this is a 20-inch wide single pass print system. Recirculating reservoirs on the top, and it's a mess right now, but these are the drive electronics to fire the head. We put this on a print conveyor, and I'll back up here, and then to test the head we have an unwinder and rewinder where we send paper under the head, print, and then rewind again. We have some other specialized tools. This is a print chamber where we do print deposition. What it is are 2 linear rails in an XY system. So there's a large linear rail here, and then a cross rail, and then this platen rotates depending on the position of the part. The print heads sit in a rack, and we move the platen underneath the print heads. This is a precision system using a granite base, again with 2 linear rails and a rotating servo top. Another system here is this is really just a linear system. So there's a linear rail that goes through here. This is a rack. Currently there's 2 Konica Minoltas in there, but there's usually it's usually set with 4. And then just to kind of show you how this all fits together, we have an enclosed system to keep fumes away from the operator. This is the print controller that I showed you. We have a UV power supply with a UV lamp, and then this is the motion control box, and all goes together into a package. And we use this to really test single pass UV applications. In addition to single pass, we're also configuring some XY systems. This is a Zund platform. Maybe back up so you can see how big it is. What we're doing here is using the Zund XY, and then we're going to mount a rack of heads onto the standard rail that they have, and then use the XY control of the Zund to do some plotting.
Well, as you can see, we have a pretty good lab set up where we can test inkjet fluids, print heads, applications, processes. We would very much like to work on your application, and look forward to hearing from you and seeing whether it makes sense. Not only can we qualify and test inks, but we can also work on helping you design and build printing systems and various different modules that you need for your application. Our normal prices, we typically charge $1,200 a day for lab time, and that is it's a daily rate, but it doesn't usually happen in one day. So you might spend a day's amount of work over a week, for example. And we basically would work with you to find out what kind of scope of work you're looking for, the amount of time you think this is going to need, and then we list some deliverables and timing, and take it from there. So the additional thing that we would need also would be a dedicated print head from you, or either from you or we need to purchase one. And again, depending on which one you're looking at, the KJ4 is a relatively expensive head, so I'm sure you're aware of that, so that would need to be added as a materials cost as well. Anyway, give me a call. I wanted to give you this to give you a sense of what we can do prior to talking, just to give you a sense that this isn't just me on the end of the phone. There's actually a lab and people. And we can talk through your application and see if it makes sense. Thank you.